You're listening to the Empowered to Heal podcast. I'm your host, Dena T, and I'm so excited to take you on a journey through stories of everyday experts as we share the ways we've harnessed the power inside us to improve the quality of our lives and the health of our minds. We're so excited to have you here with us and hope you feel inspired and empowered to heal. Hello, you beautiful souls. I am so excited to be here with you today. Today is our very first interview for the Empowered to Heal podcast, and I am just giddy and excited to introduce you all to my dear friend, Robin Giordano. Robin is a woman of heart and soul whose energy and spirit is just absolutely contagious. I'm so excited for you guys to meet her today. She's the woman behind the lifestyle blog Pen and Quill, and she's also my dear, dear friend dating back 13 years to when we first met in college. Now she's here with us today to share how she shifted her focus in life to the importance of self-love and self-care, and how this became her pathway to healing after being diagnosed with an autoimmune disease in high school. Robin embodies and lives the truth that a healthy lifestyle is all about loving yourself. We are excited to bring you along to hear her story as she drops some tidbits of knowledge on how her blog, her hobby of rock climbing, and her friendships have been her biggest tools in healing. Robin has absolutely inspired and empowered me in my life for 13 years, and I so hope that her story empowers you to heal. Hey, Robin.
Hello. I am so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. I was just sharing with folks a little bit of our history and our journey together, and I literally couldn't be more honored to start my podcast. You've been somebody who I can relate to in so many ways and has been like a sister to me throughout college. And when I think of the tidbits of knowledge you're going to drop on us today, it's something that I feel like all of us can relate to in some sort of way. And
absolutely.
There's just so much about your journey that not only is relatable, but it shows us that we can persevere through super tough times and still find ways to love ourselves in the journey.
Yes.
So I'm really excited to have you share your story with us.
I am honored, and I'm so excited for being the first guest on your podcast, and so excited to see what's going to come in the future for this.
Oh, thank you for being willing to do this. I feel like you're my, my guinea pig, my test buddy.
I'm happy to do it, girl. Happy to do it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So share with us a little bit about your journey. You've gone through something in your life that you've battled with since you were a kid, right?
Yes.
And it's impacted your joy that you find, hobbies that you're willing to do, your ability to feel like yourself around people. And really you've battled this throughout from childhood until recently in your life where you found peace within yourself. And so share with us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, you make such good points in what you just said. So I'm excited to share my story. So I'll start from the beginning for you guys. So when I was 14, I moved from Orange County, California, where everything seemed perfect, to this small little town in northern New Jersey. And my freshman year of high school, it was spring break. I was on a trip in Puerto Rico with my parents, and I'm straightening my hair. And my mom notices like a dime-sized bald spot on the back of my head. And I mean, didn't think much of it. My mom was like, put the straightener down. Like, clearly you're straightening your hair too much.
Oh.
And then when we got back, like I went to the doctor and they were like, this is an autoimmune disease. It's called alopecia areata. And it could end up with you losing all of your hair on your body, like eyelashes, eyebrows, hair everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was, that's traumatizing, especially I had just gone through this traumatizing move. And then you hear this diagnosis and you're like, what? Like, that's
yeah. And what age were you?
14.
Oh my goodness. So
Freshman year of
that's
high
like
school.
a freshman year of high school. We can all think back to that stage of our lives and how important it is for us to fit in and feel like we like can belong to all the people around us. And you kind of like, you don't want to stand out. You want to blend in at that stage of the game. Like,
Exactly. And just being the
wow.
new kid already, I felt like
Yeah.
so uncomfortable. And then you just
Mm.
add this on. And like I said, it was like a dime sized bald spot. Nobody could notice it. But by senior year of high school, I had lost the majority of the hair on my head.
Oh my gosh.
And so senior year, I started wearing wigs. And I remember just feeling like I didn't want anybody to look at me. I mean, it took like hours for me to try to do my hair in the morning, trying to like hide the bald spots. And clearly I wasn't. I mean, people would comment on it like, I can tell you're balding, or like, what's going on with your hair? Like, it was just, you know, those high school comments that you just don't want to hear.
Yeah. And that like digs into you. Like,
It definitely does.
I think that digs into anybody at any age, but the pivotal ages of like the development of your identity, like your adolescent years.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, my Lanta.
Yeah, it was rough, I could say. So I remember the first day I wore a wig to high school, senior year, and I ended up wearing glasses as well. Normally I wore contacts, and I was just trying to hide, like, maybe this will distract people. Like, if I wear my glasses and a wig, maybe they'll be so distracted by the glasses they won't notice the wig. Like, it was just, I don't want to be known as this girl who wears a wig. Like, what? Especially senior year of high school at this time. Like, it's just, no.
And I what's that even like? Like, you speak of a wig, and I don't know if everybody knows what a wig entails, right? So it's not like going to the costume store and picking out a wig for Halloween. Like, this is something that like is much different, right? So can you share with us like that journey of even coming to a place of needing a wig and what that was like?
I feel like I pushed it so far back. Like, I remember my best friend Erin came with me, and my friend Kate came with me, and my mom. And I think it was like my mom must have said, you know, like, let's go try it out. Let's just go see if this makes you feel better. And like, because I said I was spending hours. I mean, you go to high school at like 6:30 in the morning, I felt like. So I was waking up so early to try to do my hair, but there was no hiding it. Like, it wasn't working. So we go to this wig shop, and honestly, like, I was so in denial. I didn't do any research. I just pretended this didn't exist. And I walk into the wig shop, and like, I feel like I was given no guidance. Like, they didn't make me feel like, okay, like, this is what you do, and this is like what you need to look at, and all the different types of wigs. It was kind of just like, pick what you like, try it on, and walk out the door. And I felt like for years I had no knowledge about wigs. Like, I didn't do the research. I didn't hear it from the people in the wig shop. Like, I just put on a wig and was like, okay, this is good enough. And also, I'm the type of person who is like, if people tell me it looks good, I'm just like, okay, even if I'm not necessarily happy with it.
Oh, so you weren't even going into this first day of school with a wig on feeling like, I'm proud of the style I picked out, the cut, the color. Like,
I mean, I did try on a few, and I like found my favorite out of these few, but like, I look back on it now and I'm like, oh, I hate it. Like, I hate it so much. Like, it's just, I'm like a small person with like a narrow face, and you just have this, like, you went from having hardly any hair, like 50% of my hair gone, to suddenly having this wig on your head that's like overpowering and looks like so much hair. And it like, and wearing a wig, like wearing a costume wig is like great. Do it for Halloween, do it for a fun time. But wearing an actual wig is like, itchy and hot and uncomfortable, and you feel like you can't move your head back and forth all the time. Like, and I look back now and I feel like I was lacking so much self-esteem about it. Like, I mean, if somebody came up behind me, like I would freak out. I would like smack anybody's like hand away or smack anything away. Like at restaurants, I couldn't have my back to the waiter because I was afraid that they would accidentally somehow pull it off. Or like anytime I went to a theme park or when we went to the fairs, like I had to wear a hoodie because I was so afraid that it would fly off on a ride. Like there was just so many things that I was just so scared about wearing a wig. And just also the fact that I just denied it. Like I was like, I'm not wearing a wig. This is my natural hair.
What's fascinating to me is I don't think we all think about the side effects or like the additional ways that this can seep into controlling your life, right? Like it's not just a fear of your appearance and how you look or don't look, but it impacted your confidence in being able to do the things you love, right?
Oh, totally.
Be yourself, like let your personality out, wear what clothes you want to wear, do the hobbies that you want to do, move your body in a way that feels good to you, right? Like you were on guard all of the time.
All the time. It's so true. And that's hard. That is so hard.
I remember, so I remember when, so we met in college, and then my second year of college, we moved in together and we were roomies, and I had no idea that you wore a wig. Like, I don't know when you felt comfortable enough to share it, but it was months before I found out that you had alopecia and that you wore a wig, and you did such a phenomenal job of acting natural and just being a part of every day with us in the home. That is part of me wonders, like, what was that like for you? Did you feel like there were times where you could forget about it and kind of be yourself, or do you feel like there was always this like shadow side of you hiding and fearful or protecting as you went through your days?
So I have some stories from freshman year, because I think freshman year was the hardest, where I was like you said, it was a shadow. It was always on my mind. I was always living in fear that people would find out. So my freshman year, I remember I wore the wig that I had gotten my senior year of high school to college. And I remember I came back after winter break with a totally different wig. It was like longer, blonder, it's so cute. But I was like, I went from this like short, dirty blonde to this long, like much blonder wig. And people were like, oh my gosh, like you got extensions, you got your hair done. And I was like, no, I didn't. And I'm like, why? Like, why did I lie about this? Why was I so in denial? Or why didn't I even just say like, yeah, got my hair done, got extensions? Like, I just denied and denied. And like, these people are like, okay, clearly you did. And I'm like, no, I didn't. And I was just so in denial about it. So clearly I didn't tell anybody. And that's why even like moving in with you, I still refuse to tell you. I just felt like it had to come up in conversation. Like, what was I going to just be like, oh, by the way, I wear a wig? Like,
like how do you even tell somebody?
Right, exactly. It never felt like the right time to tell somebody.
And when you think of that moment, like, I think all of us can relate to this for a second here, but feeling like we're hiding part of ourselves in order to blend in, be accepted, or love ourselves, right? Like if I can hide this shadow part of myself and pretend it doesn't exist or tuck it away, then I can love myself, or I can feel loved, or I can feel a part of something.
Yeah, absolutely. It is just this constant, like in the back of my mind, hiding it, secret. I felt like if somebody says, what's your deepest, darkest secret? I was always like, it's me. Like, I'm just sitting here bald and with my hair falling out and nobody really knows it. Like, it's a wild thing. And
Yeah.
also for some people who don't understand alopecia, it's like my body is fighting away my hair follicles. Like it pretty much thinks my hair follicles are bad. But then sometimes it's like, oh, hey, they're good. So I go through phases and waves of like, sometimes I have hair growing and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm like losing the hair all on my body, and sometimes I'm only losing the hair on a certain patch on my head. Like it's just this never ending phase of up like a roller coaster.
Yeah, and let's go into that for a second, like a little bit about alopecia, because the treatment of this or the healing of this you've gotten so many different directions from different doctors, right? Like I
Absolutely.
personally can attest to seeing you do like lifestyle changes to try and address this, to
Right.
like injections in your head, right?
Right.
So
Yes.
tell us about that.
So when I was first diagnosed, I mean, back in high school, they gave me like some ointments, some steroid creams that I would just put on my head to help it grow. And like it helps that one spot, but then another bald spot would appear. So they were like, okay, let's do injections. So that means like getting hundreds of shots in your head.
Mm.
And that did not work for me at all. I tried that multiple times, which is usually the way it helps, but it did not work at all. What would happen is I would get the injections and then a ton more bald spots would appear.
Oh my
And
goodness.
doctors would be like, no, that's just your body. That's like, it's just what was going to happen. But no, the reality is like the injections for me do cause me to lose more hair. And I've tried this at many stages in my life throughout different years, and it always results in me losing more hair. So that's
Wow.
me going to different doctors, going to different dermatologists. It also plays an effect on my nails. Like my nails and toenails are all not as pretty as they should be. And, um, so I've been to like a podiatrist to try to get support, and they've recommended me to like rheumatologists who work with people with autoimmune disorders. And the rheumatologist recommended me to a cardiologist, telling me that this could result to like heart problems. And I
Oh
feel
my
like,
goodness.
right, I feel like it was just this never ending cycle of, we don't know what to do with you. So maybe let's send you somewhere else. So eventually, like in my 30s, I went to a naturopath, and like she's done a ton of blood work and talked about how maybe it's like gut related, and tried helping with different diets that I could do. But really, I don't feel like any of the doctors or any of the procedures that I did really helped.
And you've spent a lifetime, right, and a fortune down this road of
Oh,
how
yeah.
do I heal this? How do I make it better? How do I get it to go away? How do I improve in some way? And at some point along this journey, a part of you has shifted from kind of fixating on hiding it or getting rid of it or healing it, and shifted into kind of a different point of view of like, okay, if I have to live with this, what's my life going to be like, right?
Yes. So I heard somewhere this quote that was said, like, we don't become healed, we heal. So,
I love that so much. That's so true.
right? So I heard this, and like I had been to so many doctors at this point. Like I just said, I've been to multiple ones, different types. Nobody was working. They've told me different diets, different medicine, different creams. Nothing worked. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to be healed of this. Like alopecia is a part of me. I'm always going to have these bald spots. So it's time that I just start healing my self-esteem, my like stop denying this, like this is part of me.
Mm.
And you're just going to have to accept it, and you're going to have to heal the emotional side of this, not the actual physical side of having hair loss.
What a profound shift. Like,
Yes.
you can't control what your body's going
No,
through,
you
but it's
really
like
can't.
mind over matter, right? Like, you can control how you want to experience and live your life,
Mhm.
right?
Oh,
Wow.
absolutely. Right. And I think that's so true with like so many autoimmune disorders. Like we're so many people who have autoimmune disorders are just at a loss and really can't figure out why and like what's causing it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it really just takes, I guess I just need to live with it and heal myself in a different way. Because when I was in my college in my 20s, I was lacking so much self-esteem. And not to say that I'm totally healed now and I'm like so confident, but I have definitely gone from this person who denied it to this person who shaved their head and was just like, you know what? We're going with it and we're going to accept it.
Which, and I just want to do a little plug in here. Like your blog, Pen and Quill, you've used that as a platform to share not only your story, but I feel like it's become like a place of acceptance and putting it out there that no, this does not define me and it will not define me. And I am Robin, hear me roar,
Hear me
right?
roar.
You're
Yes.
releasing like your inner self and finding that love again, and you're letting it out in a way that's like shouted on the mountaintops, like I'm shedding this shadow, right?
Yes. So I started Pen and Quill back in college. I think my senior year of college or right after finishing college. And it was really just a platform. Like I enjoyed writing. I enjoyed just like getting it out there. Honestly, if you look back at my posts from 2012, I was like, I don't even know what I was talking about. So don't look back at this. But like it was really just a way of me, not just necessarily to talk about alopecia, but I was just talking about whatever, like what's going on in my life. But eventually I did put alopecia on the blog. And then I had people who had alopecia like reach out to me and be like, hey, like, I'm going through the same thing. And I was able to connect to people. Like social
Wow.
media helped me so much to like connect with people and realize that there's this community out there that I have been avoiding and pretending doesn't exist. And I'm in this pity party of like, I'm the only one going through this. But really, that's not true. Like, there's so many people who need the support and who are willing to give the support.
And you found that by being vulnerable, like you opened up your world to experiencing that it's bigger than your struggle, right? And you can be an influencer for others on their journey.
Right, exactly.
And that started with like vulnerability, like releasing that out into the world, letting it manifest into something, right?
Yeah, true.
So powerful.
Yeah, so I don't know what really caused me to like join like alopecia Facebook groups and start following people on Instagram with alopecia. But once I did, I felt like it was life-changing for me. Like seeing it constantly and having it be almost normal now. Like, oh, I'm scrolling through my Instagram feed and there's a girl who's bald. Like it became just like, this is normal. It's okay. Like that can be you. And once I did that for myself, it really started to make me accept it. Like these other girls and even guys too can be okay with it, so I can be okay with it. And I remember once this started happening and I started following these different things, I was like looking up alopecia, and somebody had posted that there was a conference, an alopecia conference, like every year. And I was like, let's look it up. Let's see when it's happening. Not that I'm going to go or anything, but just, out of curiosity. And it happened to be like 5 miles down the road from me in a couple months. Like it changes, right? It changes locations every year. And it just happened to be right down the road for me. And I was like, I have to go. Like that was such a sign of it's time. Like it's time you accept this and meet other people who have alopecia and just understand that this is okay.
And I want to speak to that concept for a second of like looking for a sign. I think
Mm-hmm.
so many people in the world say like, I just need a sign to take
Right.
some big leap of faith in my life. And if we rewind here for a second, that sign didn't come out of the blue. That
Right.
sign came after you created vulnerability in searching for connection with others and going through social media to find inspiration. Like you took that first step to find inspiration in other people that you can relate to and open your community, open your little world a little bit bigger so
Mm-hmm.
that you could see the opportunities and experiences around you that can help normalize, right? Help you feel like you're not the only person in the universe battling this. And in that journey of opening that door for yourself and taking that first step to open that door, in comes this conference 5 miles down the road, right?
Right. I think
Oh,
that's my biggest advice to people who are doing the same thing of me, as where you're denying it and you're pretending you're putting yourself in this place of I'm the only one who understands. Like,
yeah.
I don't
And
believe that. I think that everybody, like, there's someone else in the world going through the same thing as you, and you need to seek out and figure out a place, whether it be social media or a group, like something, to find somebody to talk to and connect with who is going through something similar and can help you talk through it, or just like understand it, like, wow, they really do understand what it's like to lose all their hair at the age of 14.
yeah.
It
And
was
that's not like
big.
some offhanded, like, oh, this is simple to do advice. Like, this took you into your 20s, right?
Yeah, in my
To
20s, I would say I was like 29 when I went to that conference, and I'm 32 now, but
So like 15 years
yeah.
of living with this, right?
Hmm.
15 years of living with this until you felt within yourself you could open up the doors and be the person who's actively searching for that healing, to
Yeah.
start that healing within yourself.
Yeah, it's not a quick process at all. And I was amazed because there was so many kids at this conference, and I was like, wow, like, how did you get here? Like,
Yeah.
how did you have the strength? And like, because a lot of them are like, my parents forced me to come to this. If
Mm.
my parents had have been like, you're going to this conference, I would have, oh, I can't even imagine. Like, no. And I remember one time my mom said to me something along the lines of like, I was looking on some website about support. And I remember like rolling my eyes and being like, no, like, how dare you? Like, this is not your thing to research. Like, I'm not even researching it. Like, stop.
Yeah.
The teenager in me was just not having it.
But that teenager in you, like, we could put that on somebody in their 40s, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's protecting yourself, right? Like, you're
Yeah.
shielding and protecting yourself from the outside world because you're hurting, you're scared, you're nervous, you're anxious, you're overwhelmed, you're confused as to how do I keep going forward when I'm throwing this, like, unimaginable, huge life-changing experience, right?
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. So I know I already said a quote, but I have another quote. So this was another game changer for me. I believe it was by Dan Reynolds, who's a singer on in Imagine Dragons, I believe. And he was doing an interview, and he said, you have to speak your truth. And if you don't, you're kind of just suffocating. You're not even living. And for me, that was game changing in the fact of, like, it was such a secret. And once I put it out there and I spoke my truth at this conference, and I spoke my truth, on social media and on the blog, it it was a feeling of, you're no longer suffocating. Like, nobody is really judging you like you think they're judging you. Nobody actually cares that you're wearing a wig. Nobody actually cares that you're bald. Like, it's all inside you, like this inner demon telling you like that you're not going to be accepted. But that's so not true.
No, that inner demon it's the ego, right? Like that's our ego,
Right.
which we mistakenly try to please throughout our life. And we
Mm-hmm.
put so much energy into the world of how do we look and how do we spend our time to fit in rather than like turning inward, right? And the power behind the statement of or the quote around suffocating to me I can like visually see like the elephant coming off your chest, right? Like all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden you can inflate your chest and your stomach again and take a breath of air and let that air do its magic and know like I am me and I
Mm-hmm.
am love, right? I am beautiful. I am healthy. This autoimmune disease does not define me, right? Like you can actually breathe and let that
Absolutely.
fill your body.
Yeah. And not to say that it still affects me every day. Like it's still there. I still think about it. I still have to figure out, am I going to wear a headscarf today? Am I going to wear a wig today? Or am I going to just be confident and walk upstairs? Because I live with my sister right now. Am I going to be confident and walk upstairs without one? And as comfortable as I am with my sister and the family, it's still this thought in my head of, oh, like I hate being seen without the hair. And I will say it also took me 18 years. At the age of 32 was the first time I shaved my head. So like
Mm.
it takes a long time. It's still a healing process. But if I think back, I have come so far from that 14-year-old girl who was so in denial about this to now shaving my head and walking upstairs in front of people and being like, well, this is what you get, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Well, and changing that inner narrative of, well, this is what you get to like, hey, right?
yeah,
Like,
and being
hi,
like, you know,
this
it's
is
not
me.
bad. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's not bad. Like I can still be beautiful without
Yes.
hair. You know,
Yes.
it's not the worst. It's
So, as you think of all of these like journeys and experiences you've had after the fact of opening the floodgates of acceptance, right? And of welcoming community and seeking out connection. Like what is like the internal pep talk you give yourself every day? Do you have a pep talk or like how do you continue forward on this journey of authenticity, right? Being authentically you without having like that shadow creep in again.
you know, so I had come up with this slogan for my blog of living a healthy lifestyle is all about loving yourself. And I had this desire to live this healthy lifestyle. Like, that doesn't mean I eat perfect. It doesn't mean I'm working out every day. It just means like, I just want to love myself and I want to feel happy and I want to do things that I enjoy and feel confident doing them. And that's really when I started like rock climbing and I started doing yoga more often and I continued with the blog and I just said, you know, do the things that make you happy and surround yourself with friends that make you happy and surround yourself with people who encourage you and accept you to rock that headscarf or to rock it with no wig on. Like, just be you
Mm.
and that's going to be okay. Like, you're a great person. So just kill it, just rock it, you know, just be you and it's going to be accepted. And I think I have to tell myself that over and over of like, they don't care and they love you for you. And yeah, you may get a few stares or you may get a few comments, but it's really more curiosity than it is judgment or anything like that. So constantly just reminding myself and giving me this little pep talk of, you've got this, like just do it and love yourself because you deserve that love.
That is, I mean, I have full body chills as you share
Oh,
your
thanks,
pep
friend.
talk. Like that's something I think all of us could record and play back over and over and over again when we're feeling intimidated or those like thoughts of doubt creep in. And really what you're describing is like changing your internal dialogue with
Mhm.
yourself to love and acceptance and encouragement, right? Not
Yeah.
doubt. And when you recognize that doubt, you're like, it's like the angel and the devil on the shoulder, like, like angel peeks up and they're like,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
no, 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 no. Like
Mhm.
you can go out there and be you, and that's
Yeah.
okay, right? While the
Yes.
devil's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
just feels
and it is a daily struggle. Those angel and the devil are definitely there. They definitely are. But like you said, just listen to the angel and that's
yeah.
how it should be. Like, don't let that devil creep in.
No. You have dropped some extremely huge bombs of knowledge. I was saying tidbits at the beginning of this today, but holy smokes, like you have truly shared with us, and I'm going to do a quick recap of things that I've learned, right? So that we can go back when we're feeling the need to feel inspired and empowered in our own
Yeah.
healing journeys. Like things to hold on to and remember as we leave this interview today is like your internal dialogue matters, and
It
inspire that
does.
internal dialogue through how you're willing to open the door and take the first step to
Mhm.
inviting knowledge and interactions and exposure to people that you could relate to, taking that initiative on that journey, surrounding yourself with community, right? Community
Mhm.
that maybe it's the best friends that you have in the family, but like opening that door to community of people that you can relate to. And then also I think this says a lot, but your blog, not only did it start out being like a place for self-expression for you, but it's become a place for you to like blast how much you love yourself, and it doesn't matter what the rest of the world thinks. Like you will love and you will shed love onto anyone and everything that has the dream and the desire to give that same mission. And I know you promote ads on your blog that have that same alignment, right? And their
Right.
mission in this world. And I think that says so much because you're not just it's not just talk, but there's action associated to it. Like, yes, you're talking to yourself kindly now, and yes, you're aware that your mind controls a lot of how you feel. But then you're physically taking those super hard action steps every day through creativity, through writing, through connection with people on social media, through research. And
Yeah.
those are things that all of us can do in our journey. And ultimately, like that's my biggest takeaway for people listening to this podcast is to walk away feeling empowered to heal for themselves. Don't
Absolutely.
give that away to others, right? You own that power.
Absolutely. It's all in yourself. Like deep down in there, it's there and you have the power to do it.
Okay, my friends. So now that we've inspired so many people, if they want to continue their connection with you, how can they find you and follow you in this world?
Yeah. So on all forms of social media, you can find me at Pen and Quill. It's PENN, so two N's, and Quill, and penandquill.com for my blog as well. And like again, I share pretty much like living a healthy lifestyle is all about loving yourself. So lots of tidbits on self love.
Oh, I love it so much. I hope
Yeah.
people come and follow you. I know I enjoy following you on the Instagram.
Yes,
It's a
that's where I'm most active. So follow
yes.
me there. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Robin. You are
Uh,
such a beautiful soul, and I love you dearly and
right
so
back at you.
appreciate your vulnerability and being real with all of us today and transparent on your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Like I said at the beginning, I am so excited to see you grow and watch like who heals from this, like there's so much healing to be done and I'm so excited for you.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you are feeling inspired and empowered in your own healing journey. I know that many of you listening might be reflecting on your own stories that you may feel called to share. If so, please reach out to me at Dena T at empowertoheal.com. That's DENAT at empower2heal.com. Or drop me a message through my Instagram handle at empower2heal. I would love to connect with you and learn about your journeys so that we can hopefully continue to spread these powerful life lessons on empowering ourselves to heal. My contacts will also be linked in the show notes below so that you can easily find me. We are so eager to start a movement in showcasing the many ways we can heal. And you can be part of this movement too by capturing images and tagging them #empower2heal on Instagram. We look forward to seeing all the ways that you are empowered to heal. I love you, beautiful souls, and thank you so much. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and review.